The 1987 season was the 68th NFL season for the Cardinals, one of the two surviving charter members of the National Football League. But only the Cardinals can boast the distinction of being the oldest continuously operating professional football team in America. And the Cardinal Heroes of '87 further enriched the proud history of this, the longest running show in pro football. For second-year head coach Gene Stallings and his Cardinals, the season began with the Dallas Cowboys, a team which had lost only one season opener in 22 years. On this opening day, however, the traditionally high-powered Dallas offense was short-circuited by 8 Cardinal sacks, including 2 by Colin Scott's number 69, and 3 by NFC Defensive Player of the Week Curtis Greer, number 75. Led by the front four of Greer, Scotts, Bob Clansby, and Freddie Joe Nunn, the Cardinals held the Cowboys to just 13 points, but still trailed 13-3 with less than 2 minutes remaining. Then, as would happen so often during the '87 season, quarterback Neil Lomax brought the Cardinals back, this time by calling upon wide receiver Roy Green, number 81, for the crucial plays that would give the Cardinals the lead.
Lomax drops sets, launches it deep toward the end zone, caught, touchdown by Roy Green in the left corner of the end zone, taking it away from Ron Francis. Lomax in the shotgun, takes the snap, drops, here comes pressure, lofts it deep toward the end zone, touchdown, Roy Green! Touchdown, Roy Green!
The explosive Cardinals led 17-13 with less than a minute left. But one more explosion remained as fullback Earl Farrell, number 31, burst through the Cowboys for the clincher. Earl Farrell's run had given the comeback Cardinals their third touchdown in less than 2 minutes. And just that quickly, a 10-point deficit had suddenly been transformed into a 24-13 victory over the arch-rival Cowboys. For a Cardinal team which twice had lost badly to Dallas during the previous season, it was a long-awaited indication that the winning was and is just beginning. The season's second week found the Cardinals in San Diego, where Neil Lomax and company continued to roll up and down the field, but still found themselves trailing by 28-0 at the half. In the second half, Lomax again led the Cardinals back, this time with 3 touchdown passes, the first to Roy Green. Next, Lomax found tight end Jay Novacek for a score. Like Green, Novacek, number 85, accumulated more than 100 yards receiving for the day. The third Lomax touchdown pass went to the versatile running back number 30, Stump Mitchell, as the comeback Cardinals exploded for 24 unanswered points. Neil Lomax rewrote the Cardinal record book with 61 passes, of which he completed 32 for a grand total of 457 yards, including this one to Earl Farrell, who carried to the 5-yard line with 32 seconds left.
Lomax awaits the snap, gets it, drops, here comes pressure, he throws, it is caught, it's dropped, he had a touchdown. Oh, my goodness gracious.
The Cardinals' remarkable comeback had fallen just short, 28-24. It was a gut-wrenching and bizarre ending to a bizarre game, but not nearly so bizarre as what would follow in the next 3 games. The 3 weeks of the NFL strike, during which an unknown player like Peter Nogan would play his brother Nico's middle linebacker position in his brother's number 57 uniform. A wild loss to the replacement Redskins was followed by an even wilder win over the New Orleans Saints, during which the Cardinals forced 4 turnovers and returned 2 fumbles for touchdowns, tying an NFL record. Number 10, rookie quarterback Sammy Garza from Texas El Paso scored a 3rd touchdown for the Cardinals, and Garza's first as a pro in a 24-19 win over New Orleans. In the 3rd replacement game in San Francisco, unpredictable things continued to happen as a Sammy Garza flea flicker wound up in the hands of wide receiver Troy Johnson, number 87, for a Cardinal touchdown. A rookie running back from Baylor, Derek McAdoo, number 33, ran for more than 100 yards and scored 3 touchdowns. For McAdoo, this game was a keeper. But in the end, it was the passing wizardry of number 16, All-Pro quarterback Joe Montana, that brought the 49ers back to a 34-28 win in the third and final replacement game. The first game following the strike was played in Giant Stadium, where number 11 quarterback Phil Simms looked like the Phil Simms who had been the most valuable player of Super Bowl 21, completing 17 of 21 passes, 3 of them for touchdowns. Neil Lomax orchestrated a second half in which he completed 15 of 17 passes, giving him 23 completions and 32 attempts for the day, including a touchdown to tight end Jay Novacek. But it was not enough to rally the Cardinals to victory over the defending Super Bowl champion New York Giants. Against the Philadelphia Eagles in Game 7, the Cardinals rushed for nearly 200 yards and continued to display outstanding individual performances. Fullback Earl Farrell accounted for more than 100 yards of total offense, as well as a battering touchdown run. Neil Lomax had another big day, as did the 10-year veteran wide receiver from North Texas State, J.T. Smith, number 84, whose multiple skills accounted for 10 receptions, 112 yards, and another Cardinal touchdown. Starting his first NFL game at tight end in place of the injured Jay Novacek, Robert Awalt, number 80, a third-round draft choice from San Diego State, had a debut to remember with 9 receptions and the touchdown, which gave the Cardinals the lead with less than 2 minutes left. But the Eagles spoiled the party with a touchdown of their own, and after 7 games, the Cardinals had won 2 and lost 5, 4 of those by a touchdown or less. The so-called experts were writing the Cardinals off, a bit prematurely, as it turned out. In a season filled with comebacks for Neil Lomax and the Cardinals, the most impressive comeback of all occurred in Game 8 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who led the Cardinals after 3 quarters by the seemingly insurmountable score of 28-3. Then in the fourth quarter, a play-action pass to Stump Mitchell, who collected 137 yards of total offense for the day, lit the fuse for the ever-explosive Cardinals.
Stump in motion back to the left side. Lomax on the option to the left side, raises up, throws in zone. Caught, touchdown, Awalt! Robert Awalt in the back corner of the end zone makes the catch. The second down play, they pitch it left to Wilder. He cuts across the 20 and fumbles the ball. The Cardinals have it. Nico Noga at the 10. Touchdown, Nico Noga!
The Cardinal defense was stopping the Bucs and scoring points as well. But the big story was once again Neil Lomax, who in the fourth quarter alone hit on 10 of 13 passes for 164 yards. His primary receivers were J.T. Smith with 8 catches for the day, and the rookie Robert Awalt with 9 for 124 yards.
From the Tampa Bay 11, J.T. wide right. Lomax dropping, setting, looking, looping it toward the end zone. Touchdown! J.T. Smith! 3rd and 6 from the Tampa Bay 16. Lomax drops. Here comes the rush. Slops it toward the end zone. All right. J.T. Smith! Touchdown!
The 28 unanswered points by the Cardinals represented the greatest fourth quarter comeback in NFL history and a scoreboard worthy of preservation in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The following week against the Rams, both Stump Mitchell and Earl Farrell accounted for more than 100 yards of total offense apiece. To accomplish such balance, both men not only ran and caught, but blocked for each other, as demonstrated in this end zone view of Earl Farrell clearing the way for a Stump Mitchell touchdown. Also continuing to click were Lomax and Awalt, but the Rams prevailed by a field goal. And for the 5th time, the Cardinals were edged out by a touchdown or less. In Philadelphia for Game 10, there was no need to wait for a comeback, as Neil Lomax and the Cardinals took an early lead on a touchdown pass to Roy Green and then added 24 unanswered points in the second quarter. The defense swarmed over the Eagles with linebackers Anthony Bell, Nico Nogo, and E.J. Jr., and defensive backs Leonard Smith, Lonnie Young, Carl Carter, and Cedric Mack, while 6 sacks were recorded by linemen Bob Clansby, Steve Alford, Rod Sadler, and Freddie Joe Nunn. While the defense was holding the Eagles to just 3 points in the first half, Neil Lomax repeatedly escaped trouble by finding his backs and tight end for big gains, including 6 of 8 third down conversions. There were also 3 touchdown passes by Lomax, 2 of them to J.T. Smith, a master at catching in traffic and at avoiding traffic after the catch. Earl Farrell capped off another 100-yard-plus day with the longest run of his 6-year career, as the Cardinals dominated the Eagles 31-19 and proved that piling up a massive early lead can also be a satisfying way to win. The next week in Atlanta, Earl Farrell had another big game with more than 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, but unfortunately, in the second half, Farrell suffered injured knee ligaments and was sidelined for the remainder of the season. The Cardinal defense also had another banner day, holding Gerald Riggs and the Falcon rushing game well under control, as well as forcing 4 important turnovers. When the ball-hawking Cardinal defenders turned the ball over to the offense, Neil Lomax made the most of the opportunities, cranking out a season-high total of 476 yards. While the big yardage eaters were J.T. Smith and Roy Green, the touchdown makers were Earl Farrell, Robert Awalt, and number 87, Troy Johnson. As Lomax said later, the whole key was our offensive line. Louis Sharp, Todd Pete, Derek Kennard, Lance Smith, and Tootie Robbins. Behind their blocking, Lomax and the Cardinals won 34-21 for their second straight victory on the road and their 3rd win in their last 4 games. To the amazement of many, the explosive Cardinals were staging not just a late game comeback, but a second half of the season comeback, which had them right back in the running for the playoffs. Against the eventual Super Bowl champion Washington Redskins, Neil Lomax passed for 2 more first-half touchdowns, one of them to J.T. Smith, who, as usual, emerged from the crowd with the ball. With his usual backfield partner Earl Farrell disabled, most of the ball-carrying responsibility fell to Stump Mitchell, who responded with more than 100 yards rushing against the rugged Redskin defense. Neil Lomax also found Mitchell for a touchdown pass, as the Cardinals built a 14-10 halftime lead, a lead which the Redskins went on to erase in the second half, thanks in part to another Mitchell touchdown catch, which was disallowed. The frustrating loss to the world champions-to-be was followed by a rematch with the defending world champions, Phil Simms and the Giants, and the Cardinals were intent on revenge. Behind the protection of Pro Bowler Louis Sharp and his line mates, Neil Lomax led the Cardinals to 27 first-half points, with Robert Awalt scoring 1 touchdown and Stump Mitchell running for another. Mitchell again rushed for more than 100 yards, the first player to do so against the Giant regulars in 36 games. Stump Mitchell's running mate was special teams standout Ron Wolfley, number 24, who scored his first pro touchdown. But the most spectacular score was by another special teamer, Vai Sekahema.
Sekahema backs up, will return from his 25. Crossed at 30, trying the right side, gets a lane. 35, he's at the 40, 45, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, he's at the 20, he's at the 10, 5, touchdown!
No flags either.
Sekahema!
The 76-yard play was the third touchdown return of Sekahema's two-year career, and it helped to propel the Cardinals past the Giants 27-24. For the season's next to last week, Gene Stallings and the Cardinals were at Tampa Bay, where they were going for their 5th win in 7 games since the record-breaking comeback in their first game against the Bucs. This time, after an early Tampa touchdown, the Cardinal defense thwarted Vinny Testaverde with 6 sacks, 3 of them by number 78, Freddie Joe Nunn. The defense also collected 4 turnovers, 1 by E.J. Jr. and 3 by cornerback Cedric Mack, number 47. On offense, Stump Mitchell enjoyed his 3rd consecutive 100-yard rushing game, equaling a Cardinal record. Neil Lomax connected on 22 of 29 passes, with a club record 12 straight at one point, and 3 touchdown passes to Jay Novacek, J.T. Smith, and Robert Awalt. The Cardinals scored 31 unanswered points on the way to a 31-14 win and their largest margin of victory in 3 years. More importantly, they'd won 3 straight on the road and 4 of 5 overall, and playoff hopes were still alive as they entered the season's final week. In Dallas, Neil Lomax again passed for more than 300 yards, while his receivers achieved some remarkable milestones. For the season, Jay Novacek and Rookie of the Year Robert Awalt combined for 63 receptions, the most by the tight end position in club history. Despite missing a third of the season, 2-time Pro Bowler Roy Green caught 43 passes for more than 700 yards. All-Pro J.T. Smith enjoyed one of the greatest seasons in Cardinal history as he led the league in yardage and receptions with a club record 91. Over the past 2 seasons, J.T. Smith has caught more passes than anyone else in the NFL. Despite their individual heroics, the Cardinals lost to Dallas 21-16, their 6th loss by a touchdown or less, any one of which, as a win, would have put them in the playoffs. Cardinal special teams were indeed special in 1987, with 2 members being voted to the Pro Bowl, and many other young players being given the opportunity to display their kamikaze style at the NFL level. Among those unsung heroes were enthusiastic young hustlers like Broderick Sargent, Wayne Davis, and Derek McAdoo, number 33. The king of the coverage teams was 3rd-year fullback Ron Wolfley, number 24, who was to return to the Pro Bowl for the 2nd straight year. The other special team Pro Bowler was Sekahema, number 36, who broke his own club single-season record for both punt returns and punt return yardage. The Cardinal defense was an aggressive gang of opportunists who forced a total of 33 turnovers, as well as collecting 41 quarterback sacks. Defensive tackle Steve Alvord, number 60, and Bob Cladsby, number 79, applied pressure from the inside. On the outside, number 75, Curtis Greer, accounted for 6 sacks before being injured in the season's 9th week. In Greer's absence, Ron Sadler, number 72, filled the gap before David Galloway, number 65, returned from injured reserve to start the final 3 games. Number 78, Freddie Joe Nunn, was shifted from outside linebacker to left defensive end, where he racked up 46 tackles and a team-leading 11 sacks, the most by a Cardinal since Curtis Greer's 14 in 1984. Steady middle linebacker Nico Nogo, number 57, the Samoan from Pago Pago, had 78 tackles, while his partners also performed with consistency. Number 55, left linebacker Anthony Bell, had 66 stops. And on the right side, number 54, E.J. Jr. bagged the ball carrier 53 times. Leading the team in tackles for the third straight season was number 45, All-NFC strong safety Leonard Smith with 109. Complementing Smith at free safety was number 43, Lonnie Young, who was second in tackles with 87. And like all good free safeties, was always around the ball. Leading the team in interceptions with 5 was nickelback Travis Curtis, number 20, a rookie free safety from West Virginia. At left cornerback was Carl Carter, number 41, who led the team in passes defensed with 15 and was also among the leaders in tackles with 51. At right cornerback was another collector of turnovers, Cedric Mack, number 47. With the addition of second-round draft choice Tim McDonald, this talented group of defenders should only improve in the years to come. The Cardinals, who won 4 of their final 6 games en route to a second-place tie in the NFC Eastern Division standings, owed much of their advancement to a young and improving offensive line. Center Derek Kennard, guards Lance Smith and all-rookie Todd Pete, and tackles Luis Sharp and number 63 Tootie Robbins not only protected Neil Lomax, but also opened the way for Earl Farrell and Stump Mitchell. Mitchell, the Cardinals' all-time leader in total offense, finished 5th in the NFL in 87. Neil Lomax led the entire NFL in passing yardage and earned his second trip to the Pro Bowl as he guided pro football's most explosive offense to more than 24 points per game. As Coach Dowling stated after the season, our guys have come a long way this year. Now we just need to build on this year's accomplishments.